Okay, so I was thinking about this after a different post after the Bears, won earlier, this week or whatever, about what should be done with what the Bears should do with an organization, field, all that stuff. And I mean, to me, there's three ways to go about it. I think something better than other. The main one I think is fortunate, unfortunate, whatever, is everything going to go, underneath the general manager. Coach gone, quarterback gone, and then I was like, they got two top five picks or whatever right now. If you draft a quarterback, number one, and you can still draft. I was like, you might not be able to get Marvin Harrison Jr., but maybe you could sort of do like the Texans and move up and get him as well if you want to or whatever, or just stay pack or go down. There's that one. The second one is fire the coach who hadn't looked great at all this year. Keep Justin Fields, get his fifth-year option. Bring in another coach, which I don't think this is necessarily great, but you also got a fifth-year option. They're not going to break the bank. You're not committing money to him. You don't have to sign him up necessarily like Daniel Jones. You don't have to be stupid and take away his option before. Hey, but keep him. Now you got two top draft picks that with your number one pick, you could draft Marvin Harrison Jr. Then with the second one, trade that away and get even more picks and build around the Fields. Or number three, you get rid of Fields, keep the coach, and keep that version of continuity. Because the general manager did bring in the coach, but Fields did not neither one of their choices. Now, me on the other hand, I think the third one is the dumbest one. I think the coach hasn't proved that he knows what he's doing in either the defensive department nor how they sort of handle Justin Fields and all this stuff. And that's not to say that Justin Fields is to blame for any of the stuff he did, because sometimes he do be making costly ass turnovers and stuff where it's just like, golly, how you fumbling. But at the same time, you see the talent there. You see where things go right. He's there. Moore is having a great season. Komet is doing really well. So you see that. I'm like, the weapons are sort of fine, but the defense is really there. Sweat came in late, so you already assigned him, so that's really a thing to hope for next year. So pieces there. You got enough draft capital to where you could do so. But I was like, to me, the coach hasn't earned it just as much as the quarterback, which sort of makes you think like number one would be the choice where it's just like get rid of everything. And I think that'd be best as far as like the general manager is not on you. You get to clear out everybody. You're like, that's not my quarterback, but the coach ain't proved nothing either. Clear slate. That way, if I bring in a quarterback, it's connected with the coach. That way, we ain't got to worry about nothing. It's all together, synergy, and if it does happen to go down, it's something where we're all going to go down kind of thing. Almost like what the Jets sort of could be in if things, Now, me, I still believe in Fields. I still like his talent. I still like all this other stuff. I do think that it'd be better if he goes somewhere else. But I can also look at it like this. The quarterbacks in the draft this year, Williams, May, even Penix, Nix later on. And, there's a lot that's going to be there. But as we've shown with the draft that Fields came out in, just because there's a whole bunch of them doesn't mean anything when pretty much, Lawrence is the only one that seemed to actually maintain something. Now, granted, he's the only one that didn't get screwed really by them sticking with Urban Meyer. I was like, Zach Wilson, he basically is a dud. That was all on him. That's mostly on him. Trey Lance, injuries happen, but that sort of seemed like it's on him. Mac Jones, that was the organization that got him, and he sort of got unlike Myers, I was like, they couldn't switch over because it was still Belichick really calling the shots. And Fields, I was like, organization. So, I mean, just, I was like, more than Fields. Me, I think I would actually keep Fields, 5th-year contract, and just, I'm like, the crapshoot that it is to get a quarterback, I was like, well, yes, you could say Fields had improved enough to not draft a new person. I wouldn't really argue really against you on that. My argument is that for a 5th-year option, I get him pretty much on a cheap contract, one more year. We got these 2 high draft picks that we probably won't get a chance again. And with so many quarterbacks, guess what that means? If I already say, nope, we're going to keep Fields, guess what? That number 1 pick, just like it did this past year with Young, is going to be ringing off the hook. And I could get even more capital. And still, and then I was like, and then I can get more capital for that number 1 pick a lot. Then still sort of try to wing my way. Either he falls or move up a little bit to get Marvin Harrison Jr. Boom. I was like, I get the receiver outside DJ Moore. It's almost, you're on. And then you use the rest of those picks to basically fill out the rest of your roster. Because you're going to get picks for next year and this year. So you might be back in the same boat anyway with the situation, because guess what? If a team is asking and trying to get up for a quarterback, I was like, unless they get CJ Stroud or you get a team like that, you're probably going to be drafting up number high like the Carolina Panthers with Young. So guess what? You're betting on having another starting pick. So on one hand with the draft pick thing, you're sort of almost doing something similar to Miami, where they were just having picks after picks after picks that they were able to draft, play around. And that's what Chicago is doing from that aspect. But you can also build a team up sort of like how the Eagles did. And by that, I mean, they was having multiple picks. And guess what? They had it just in case, just like with Fields, where it was like, hey, if Fields don't work out, if Hurts don't work out, we can draft a quarterback. Guess what? Hurts hit. So therefore, we can use all these picks in other way. And also too, you can also implement it just be a little bit reversed, but Hurts, and then they got Devonta Smith. Then they got A.J. Brown. Well, guess what? You got Fields, you got DJ Moore. Guess what? Then you get Harrison. It'll be flipped, but guess what? Now you got 2 number 1 receivers. I was like, then you use the rest of that pick. They need to build up that line and they need to build up defense. To me, I think the better route to go with the offensive line is if you can draft a good tackle or something like that, go ahead and sort of fill up the other spots through free agency, because line is really hard to get young dudes like ready to go. It's sort of easier to get more veterans along the line and plug in like a young person here or there. Whereas on defense, to me, that one I'm like, you sort of did something similar where you sort of try to get the 2 linebackers, then you got Sweat this year. All right, cool. So you got pieces. So you sort of got pieces there. I was like, I expect him to keep Jackson. I was like, yeah, Jackson, I think, and Johnson. So I was like, if you keep those 2, I was like, I think they're good pieces. And then you just sort of keep filling out there. I think that's where they need to come in at. I was like, but to me, I think that's the way to go. And you should still be in the same spot next year. That guess what? If you're sorry, it doesn't matter. You're going to have a number 1. You're going to have a top pick anyway. You're probably going to have whatever that draft team number, I was like top pick 2. So guess what? Now you look at it. Now you got 2 top receivers. You got maybe a better offensive line, and you got a couple more pieces on defense. Then I was like, now you could draft a rookie. And guess what? Pieces are filled out. Where it's like, if you want to start them, you can. If you don't want to, you don't have to. But guess what? Now the rest of the roster filled out. But guess what? Now this year, if you decide that you don't want Fields anymore, you got to use that number 1 pick on him. Then you got to use that number 5 pick on probably something else either. You probably ain't going to really trade back. So that's how I'm thinking about it. Like, yes, I think it'd be great to clean house, clean slate, all that other stuff. But to me, and to be honest, I'm not going to lie, The coach I'm over here trying to get is Jim Harbaugh. Because if nothing else, no matter how long it's going to last, whether it's Justin Fields or it's another quarterback that's coming in, we've seen how he can do quarterbacks in the NFL and on college. He can turn them around. He can make something out of nothing. And I'm like, he's a tough, rugged ass coach. Guess what? In Chicago, you sort of need a tough, rugged ass coach. I was like, he always had defense ready to go. I'm just saying, I was like, if anybody could bring out whatever they need to out of Fields, he probably could. But also, if you want to bring in another quarterback, he showed that he could do it with dual threat, non-threat, whatever you want to say. He could do it with all of them. But on the other hand, too, I would love it if Fields was able to like go somewhere like Atlanta, because I was like, he doesn't turn the ball over like Ritter, even though he does turn the ball over. But I just think that scheme will just sort of work well. Because I was like, he's sort of like Tannehill when Arthur Smith had Tannehill. I like, of course, there's other places I feel like will be better, like like New Orleans. I think will be a good spot for him. I was like, Tampa Bay wouldn't be bad either. Pittsburgh, I think Pittsburgh would be great for him. Structure and team and all that other stuff. I think stuff like that. But they're not going to get rid of Pickett anytime soon. But that's what I would do if I was a Chicago Bear. I was like, I'm just saying, you got to ask your question. To build with Fields or to not. Anyway, what do you think? Do you want to keep Fields? Would you just go ahead and clean the house? Or do you want to build a team and then get your quarterback? There's always going to be quarterbacks in the draft, and nobody knows who's really going to be the generational person. We all act like we do, and pretty much outside of like Lawrence, nobody was pushed into that category. No matter how much we want to have hindsight about it. But anyway, what do y'all think the Bears should do? Let me know. Talk to you again later.